So how was your Thanksgiving?
It was glorious.
Was
I
it?
mean, it was great. It was,
Well,
well, yeah.
go on.
It was the first year that we, and by we I mean me and my wife, hosted Thanksgiving.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, the rest of my family went somewhere else, so it was just me, my wife, and her mom. But we made our own turkey this year, and my wife has to be gluten free, so we didn't do any stuffing or anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it was great. I got my pumpkin
Stuffing is good,
pie,
man.
got my turkey,
Nice.
and I'll be set all weekend.
Nice. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. I unfortunately didn't do a lot. Went over to my brother's girlfriend's house for Thanksgiving.
Mm.
I was content with just being in my shell and eating food. That didn't happen, however.
They
Didn't
made you
last
play
long, I should
D&D.
say. They made me play a game. Um, it, it was a mix of charades mixed with like taboo. I don't remember the name of it, but it was fun. It was fun. I had a good time. So my plan for
Shaboos.
uh, like I said, being in my shell didn't work out too well, but I had a good time overall. And my mom, she only made a ziti,
Okay.
like a big ziti, so I don't have Thanksgiving food, unfortunately. That sucks, but it is what it is.
No, wait. I don't know if it's because I'm a Western hemisphere guy or
Hemisphere. Wait a
yeah,
minute.
Western United States guy. But what is a ziti?
It's an Italian dish. It's like a think of like lasagna,
Okay.
but with like a different kind of noodles instead of the yeah lasagna thing. It's good.
And you had that instead of a Thanksgiving turkey?
Well, we went at her house. We had all the traditional Thanksgiving food and everything.
Yeah.
Not at our house.
Ah,
Yeah,
it's not like you can go over to her house and start eating like a pumpkin pie if you want, or
correct,
gotcha.
correct. But it was good. And Thanksgiving break is over, and we are back. So let's start the show.
Gobble gobble gobble.
Hello, and welcome to episode 23 of the R&R Gaming Podcast. We are a part of the Joystick Entertainment Network, and as always, I am your host, Byron Reed, and alongside me is my co-host,
Ken Russie. I
Ken.
I forgot my name there for a second.
My co-host name is redacted.
Yeah. I
So
don't
I
know,
know
man. I was just
Thanksgiving and all.
I was zoning out, and I was listening to you, and then you said my you know like my co-host, and
Gave you
I'm
the cue.
like you know
Right.
that's why it took me
Yeah.
a second.
What's my name again?
Yeah,
Love it. Oh, shoot. All right.
it's not
So.
necessarily that I forgot my name. It's that I wasn't paying attention and I forgot what I was supposed to do. Then I remembered you're supposed to say your name. So,
Yes. Ken. Yes.
hmm
Oh man. So I know we had a crazy week with family and all, but did you get a chance to play anything?
really the only thing I've been hardcore working at that NBA 2K18 uh,
Okay. Yeah.
because I've been trying to get a pro am team together that works and does well. And you go into pro am and it's like everybody is 90 plus overall, and it seems like they got all their badges and they just smear you into the ground.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean it's fun. Don't get me wrong, but you know
Good for yourself.
I'd like to win at least one game in my pro am career.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah,
Did
right
we
now, other than walk-ons, we're sitting at 0-31, I think.
Yikes, that's
Excuse me.
not good. So what
Yeah.
you're saying is you might need me to actually start playing 2K again.
Well, yes. I
I
mean,
know I know okay. I know I did join up with you guys a few nights ago, and I was already in a shitty mood as is.
right?
Yeah.
No, I mean it's cool. Um, and I mean, you're always welcome. Although I do gotta say, when you quit from that game, like later in that game, your guy actually got called on a flagrant one. And we were thinking,
Getting
man,
frustrated.
yeah, Byron must have left some pretty negative emotions in his guy when he left.
Fantastic. I love it. No, I mean I'm gonna think about it. I'm probably just gonna spend more money and buy some VC because that grind is awful.
Hmm.
I don't feel like it. Uh, so we'll see what happens
I mean,
as
well,
far as that
it's
goes.
it's just tough because right now, like a lot of, I guess I'll say my friends are playing. Like I've had a few people come on that weren't really friends, but it hasn't really worked out because they don't like losing.
Or
And
who likes to lose? Really?
yeah, and it's just been really difficult getting like everybody on the same page. Like it seems like
Mm,
there's a lot of freewheeling going on with my team right now. Um,
yeah.
and a good example is that usually what happens is that we pass it like one time to one guy, and he either takes the shot or like maybe he'll pass it down low, or he gets stripped because they double team him, and he runs right
Yeah.
into the strip. And in 2K, like they seriously need to change that. Like
Oh,
the contact where it touches the dude's leg, and you like fumble it and they pick it up. They got to change that.
yeah.
You know, like that's either got to be a kicked ball or a personal foul or something, because that happens way too often where you just get in the way and the ball touches them and you fumble it and can't get it back, and then they're wide open for a dunk.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Exactly.
that frustrates me like no other. And I could see it in like in the park mode because there's no refs, there's no fouls. It's pretty much don't murder your other opponent is the only rule.
Yeah.
you
Pretty
know,
much.
so I could see it in that. But when you get into pro am, you gotta fix that. Like you can't have that shit going on. If guys are gonna double team you, and you can pass out of it to a wide open CPU player or even just a wide open player, 2K's got to say you're going to pay for that. If you're not going to play basketball, you're going to pay for that. You
Yeah,
know?
and that's my issue with the whole online thing as far as 2K goes. When I'm playing against CPU, I don't have to worry about their whole team cherry picking. So it's that kind of stuff that annoys me and makes me not want to play the mode in general. Uh, I don't mind a lot of things, but the basketball is supposed to be played a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not your whole team cherry picking. Not when a shot goes up, maybe one or two guys will go and leak out, but not your whole team. So
Yeah.
that's what frustrates me with the game mode and how people play as far as the park and pro am stuff goes. That just annoys me, makes me not want to play it. So that's
Yeah.
mostly why I haven't really.
Right. And
And I'm waiting on SimWorld for
yeah,
the rosters and stuff.
one of our good time buddies too, Sims, he says that there's a glitch right now
Mhm.
where guys are making super tall, super heavy centers, and they're just as fast as the skinny centers.
Yeah, and that's just like I don't I don't like I don't like that.
Yeah.
You put all these restrictions on people and what they can and can't do, and somehow they still find a way to do certain
Right.
things, and it's just annoying. I don't want to have
And,
to deal with that, so I
and
just don't.
there's a really easy way to fix the pro am. and that's don't use the my players.
Hmm.
Like don't what you do is you give them a build. You have your
You have like a sharpshooter
yeah,
build,
you
or
you yeah, you pick
you take the archetypes already in the game, and you create set builds for those
yeah,
ratings and everything. Like
exactly.
maybe
Even the
you can
badges.
still use your appearance and everything.
Mhm.
That's fine.
There you go.
But as far as you know, your ratings and everything, have them be a set build like NHL does
With their
with
3
their
on 3
team, with
stuff.
their EA, their
Yeah.
with the EA HSL thing.
Yep. And even they can even just make it where it's, you can have two separate proams. Like have an actual pro-am and then have a my player pro-am.
Hmm.
Like I'd be okay with that because I wouldn't even touch the my player. I would go in where I feel like I'm at least a level playing field where
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
everybody
They
has
all
a
have certain
chance. It's
badges and
it's
all.
actually based on how good you are at the game and not how dedicated you are, how much
And
free
though I
time you
still
have.
think that either way though, you'll still run into these things that we're running into now, as far as how players play the game. Not meaning the character create, but how they play the game. So you're still gonna have, five guys setting a screen on one player, and all that other stuff that you'll get. So it
Yeah,
doesn't eliminate that
I mean,
problem, but
you
it
still
eliminates one of them.
you still would have that issue, but I think that you're not going to get cheesers like the center. He's not going to be able to run down the court if he's a big heavy dude. If you grab a big shakalaka type dude, he's
Yeah.
not going to be able to run down the court. You'll have to wait for him to get down. If he's grabbing the rebound, he's not going to get back up the court.
Hmm.
And you can
Yeah.
even
You
have,
would think so. Speed matters. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Like I feel like that would fix more issues than not. Because the biggest issues I have, like my guy is barely an 89. He's a sharpshooter, but
Right.
it seems like that's the worst build to have because other than just making shots, he can't do anything else. Like his stats are not set up to do anything
Right.
but make a jump shot. And most people already know that. They when I play, they like smother me with coverage and they
Hmm.
don't let me get open. And since I'm not the one with the ball, I can't get a screen called. So it's tough.
Right.
Last night was
Yeah.
particularly tough because we
I
lost to the
will.
trannies twice.
Ah, jeez. Jesus. I will heavily consider uh putting some more time into 2K.
Yeah, man. Anytime you're more than welcome to join
Yeah,
up
appreciate it.
with the Vic
Appreciate it. But
Kings.
yeah. Yeah.
Probably gonna
I've
change that
been
soon. Sorry. What have you been playing?
I can make it. No, it's good. I have been playing Destiny. The Iron Banner is going on this week. I think it started actually on Thanksgiving, so I put a little bit of that when I got home from my Thanksgiving dinner and all that stuff. And I'm really glad that they're going to be changing the system to how it used to be in Destiny 1 with the Iron
Mm-hmm.
Banner,
Yep.
because um, the loot system is a bit of a problem with it. The token system doesn't work for everything. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
Um, turning in a bunch of tokens and getting um, you know, getting the chest piece that I already have from my warlock again when I don't have. I got the gauntlets last night, so I had the chest and the gauntlets, but I don't have the helmet or the boots or the warlock bond. I may be able to get those within the next few days of playing. We'll see. But yeah, this is the coin system that doesn't work for everything. So I'm glad they're going back to the old system of how they used to do it for the next season of Iron Banner. I'm enjoying it though. Don't get me wrong. I'm having a good time playing multiplayer, but the reward system is what needs changing, and I'm glad they're changing it. Um, and then other than that, I wrote up another episode. Well, two episodes actually over the past week since we've talked. of my WWE 2K18 universe, I wrote up my three. Wrote up my SmackDown Vengeance pay per view. Had all my titles changed. It was so crazy. Wrote up the week 3 of Raw and the week 3 of SmackDown after the Vengeance pay per view. So now I have NXT and my women's show, and then my first women's pay per view, which is Mayhem. We got those 3 things to write up uh, in the next few weeks. So we'll see when it gets done and everything. They also added uh, they what's the word? The new DLC came out. Yes, the NXT Generation Pack came out. So Drew McIntyre, Ruby Riott, Laura Sullivan, Elias are all in the game now. So that's good. It's fun. I'm having a good time with it all right now though.
That's good.
Yeah, I did re-download Warframe today. So because I know they had a new expansion come out with a big open world type thing. So I want to check that out and see what that's all about.
Yeah, you should check out Marvel Heroes Omega before you can't check that out anymore.
Is it on Xbox? I have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, alright then.
For now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I have to do that. So, let's jump into our news segment, shall we? Cyberpunk 2077 devs respond to games as a service concerns. So, over the past week, CD Projekt Red has had some speculation around their new game, which suggests that the game as a service as a service model would come to the game. In response to Pretty Good Gaming's video speculating on the possibility of microtransactions in the upcoming RPG, the company responded on Twitter saying that, worry not. When thinking of Cyberpunk 2077, think nothing less than The Witcher 3. Huge single-player, open-world, story-driven RPG. No hidden catch, you get what you pay for, no bullshit. Just honest gaming like Wild Hunt. We leave greed to others. So, this is interesting in the fact that they have taken sort of a shot there at the end with that last comment to other companies, notably EA, and it would be my guess. But this has me a little, at ease, but I'm to the point now where putting your blind faith into companies is not something that I'm going to do anymore.
Right.
Because I've been burned in the past few years with that. Fallout 4 and Mass Effect Andromeda are prime examples of that for me. So
welcome to the age of jadism.
Yeah. So it's okay to be a little jaded in certain things. It's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that just
it just means you've been playing games for too long.
Yeah. And you've seen the trends and seen where things are going. So the game's going to have a multiplayer component. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but it is going to have one. They haven't shown a whole lot. Just a reveal trailer and some screenshots. No actual gameplay yet, to my knowledge.
Right.
But I was talking to you earlier off the air, and I was saying that I'm excited for the game, and I am. I'm not super excited, but I am excited for it. So, looking forward to seeing what they show at E3 2018 if they show it there. I'd imagine that's where they're going to show it.
Right.
Because right now their main focus is Gwent and this Cyberpunk 2077 game. So, yeah, we'll see.
Well, I have to support CD Projekt Red. Because they're one of the few companies I know of that released their video games on PC without any sort of security or I forget what they call that, but DRM. So they released it without any sort of DRM, and they seem to be a really smart, likable company.
Yeah, they do.
Whenever I can, I always support them.
And don't get me wrong, I wasn't saying I wasn't going to support them. That's
right.
Not what I was saying at all. I think my concerns lie elsewhere and not with the company.
Right.
if that makes sense, I guess.
And but yeah, and this is supposed to be based off of some board game, I think.
I believe
Um,
so. Yes.
so I mean, even if it's, I doubt it is, but even if it is, pay to play sort of system, I would at least, I think, check it out. Maybe just buy the game, just, you know, uh, to give them credit, just because I like the company, even
Yeah,
though
I
they've
love the
really
company.
only released Witcher, Witcher One, Witcher Two, Witcher Three. That's about it. Um,
Yeah, I love the company. They've done a really good job in improving,
hmm
and the fact that they did what they did with Witcher 3 DLC, giving us, I think it was like 10 pieces of it for free, and they only made you pay for the expansions.
Yep, that's
But they
true.
gave you a bunch of stuff for free. They gave you side quests for free and outfits and all the other stuff all for free. Well, they're gonna make you pay for all that. But no,
Yeah,
just here's those and pay for the big expansions.
yeah. So I'm, I wouldn't say I'm excited. I would say I'm anxious to see what the game is or what it becomes, because it would be easy to just take the Witcher formula and put it into a cyberpunk universe, but is that
Yeah,
really what they're doing?
right, and we don't
Mm,
know.
yeah, because all I've
There's not
seen
much.
is concept art. I haven't even seen screenshots.
Yeah. The I think the concept art is sort of what I was talking about earlier. There's some pictures that
Right.
they're on.
So yeah. So that's all I was saying is that I'm anxious to see more of it, even if it
Fair enough.
does have some stupid system implemented in there. But with the way
Yeah.
EA is getting treated, I kind of think companies may start backing off on the whole pay to win.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yep. But yeah, moving along to my first news story,
News.
and it has to do
You start.
with the Microsoft Xbox One.
All right.
And last week, I don't know if we reported it, but somebody did. They reported that Microsoft had announced that they'd sold over 80,000 units during its first week of release in the UK, and that it matched the Nintendo Switch's launch figures, and even exceeded those of the PlayStation 4 Pro, which only had about 50,000 when it released.
Hmm.
But the news story here, coming from Famitsu, is that Microsoft 4K console only sold 1,639 units in its first week over in the Japan market.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's not the clearly not the best unit, because the Nintendo Switch, which is killing it over there, sold 84,000 units, rounding down, and the Xbox One X at its 1600 was seventh place in the unit sales. Do you want to take a quick stab at what the worst selling console was in Japan?
Uh, was it the PS4?
No, wasn't the PS4.
Huh. Um. Wait, is this just like all time worst
No,
seller?
this was just in the first week. To be exact,
Oh,
November 6th through
I don't
November
know.
12th.
What was it? You tell me.
So the worst selling piece of hardware with 32 units sold was the Wii U.
Wow. Well, Switch is out. It needs Wii anyway.
Yeah, I thought it would be zero, to be honest. Like, who's buying Wii U's?
Eh, people are still apparently. What is that?
Yep. But, yeah, apparently Microsoft's not too concerned about the Japan sales, as it's getting mostly positive reviews, and they expect to sell between 1 and 1.5 million units before the end of this year.
Well, we got a little bit of time left. Holidays are coming up, so
Mm-hmm.
those sales should ramp up.
Yeah, but it's not on a deal. And if you, I've, I, I think I said this on the podcast, but if you don't have a 4K TV, you're not getting much. At least not this year. Next year, I expect games to use the full power and resources that the X has. This year, however,
Right.
you're just getting 4K capabilities, and if you don't have a 4K TV, it's really not worth it.
Yep. Okay, that's fair. You did say that. I remember you saying that a few weeks ago. Wasn't last week, it was the week before. But
Hmm.
you definitely said that. I remember.
All right.
So, um, my next piece of news is that U.S. state reps are saying that Star Wars Battlefront 2 loot boxes are predatory. State reps out of Hawaii are taking action against Star Wars Battlefront 2. State Rep Chris Lee said in a press conference that he wants to quote ensure future protections for kids, youth, and everyone else. Legislation could change the way games with loot boxes are sold in Hawaii and other states is being looked at. So basically, this whole loot box situation is blowing up, um, and it's it's looking like it's looking like things could change here in the future as far as the way these things are presented and everything else.
Right.
So, what if anything happens? And knowing our judicial process, it's gonna take a little bit, but something's
Yeah.
gonna happen. Just don't know what or when.
Um. I mean, honestly speaking, I don't think anything will happen. Uh, maybe the game market will be a little more regulated, but this isn't the
Yeah,
first time a game has tried to uh, rack people over the hot coals with their pay to win kind of service. This is just the first,
very
if you
true.
will, I guess, big game. And so a lot of people are seeing it and getting upset over it because we talked
Right.
about this before, but games from Ubisoft recently have been just as bad as Battlefront 2 has. Games like Rock Band, if you bought every single song in Rock Band, it would cost you over $6,000. So, this isn't the first time, and it's just a big game, and I don't see things changing. Like I think
And
they'll talk
it's
about it,
Star Wars. Let's
and
be
then
honest. Like
they'll
it's Star
they'll
Wars. If it was,
if it was Star Trek, no one would care. I made myself feel
if it was,
sad.
you did. If it was any other game, I don't think it'd be that big a deal. But because it's Star Wars and the name attached to it, yeah,
Yeah, but yeah,
we'll
I just
see.
I just don't see legislation going over this and saying, this is predatory. We can't have these in our games. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
They'll just be like a
then I
checkbox that
don't
you
think
have
we
to
want.
check that says whether or not you're a kid or an adult. And if you're a kid, maybe you don't have to pay for it. I don't know. That's the
Yeah, but
biggest thing I see
even
coming out of it.
yeah, and I don't think we really want the government trying to get involved with this stuff because we've seen over the past, for the longest time, really, that they don't understand. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Games as a whole, they don't understand. So, eh, do we really want them getting involved in this sort of thing?
I don't really care.
I feel you.
Maybe they'll make sure Madden works before they release it.
Yeah, maybe. But that
Yeah.
was all I had for that one.
All right. Oh god. So yeah, so I'll move along to my next news, and that's the Final Fantasy 15 has one more active time report special, and it's going to air on November 29th at 2200 hours. I'm not sure if that's Japan time or Universal time. Don't know, but they are releasing. This is going to be the last year, or not the last year, but the last active time report. Um, it'll be the 1 year anniversary for Final Fantasy 15, which
Wow.
Well, yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. I feel
Yeah,
like it's
it
been
doesn't.
longer, to be honest.
I just picked it up 2 months ago.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like it came out in 2015. But anyways, yeah, so they'll have the special active time report. They're going to release more information on episode Ignis, which will be the last DLC pack, the last episode pack for it. They're expected to talk about the results of a long-awaited survey that they asked people for. I'm not sure what that is. They're going to show more on their multiplayer expansion pack Comrades, which is out already. And there's supposed to be a surprise December update, and maybe even more. So yeah, so that'll be interesting. I'll probably wait for the news stuff to report it because I doubt they'll be reporting it in English.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so I'll wait for the news to report that, and then we'll get back to you.
Sounds good. I need to get back to playing that game. I'm only on chapter 3,
I want to check out
but
the comrade modes, but I didn't buy
I've been
the
playing so many other
expansion
games,
pack.
right? I've been playing so many other games that I've neglected that as well as Dishonored and Deus Ex. But I I'd spend a lot of time in that game not even doing a whole lot, if that makes sense.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
no, I mean like not doing the main story stuff obviously because there's so much stuff to do. I'm like, oh, I want to go and hunt these monsters, or let's stay out until nighttime and hunt this thing that only comes out at night, and then I get jumped by like a level 72 big monster thing and I die. It was awful.
Yeah, nighttime you need to hide away. That's something I could say.
Yeah, I remember doing one of the night hunts successfully. It took me a little bit, but I did it. This is early on in the game, mind you. It was still level. I think the first one starts at 14 or something.
Hmm.
So, I mean, successful, but it took me a little bit to do it. A lot
Yeah,
of
I
fun though.
think
I
I'm at
enjoy
level
that game
40.
very much.
And I need to test out the Xbox One X enhanced version because that game is beautiful, and I can only
It
imagine what
is.
it looks like in 4K.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Chocobos are fun.
They
They're
are
really
the
fun.
best part of the whole game.
They're really fun, man. I gotta get back to playing that game. But
Yep.
on to my final piece of news. Bungie did their second stream for Curse of Osiris this past week, and I took some notes and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on everything once it's all said and done. So here we go. In the New Ways to Play stream, they showed off the new public event called Vex Crossroads. The objective is to get keys by killing gatekeepers and shut down the warp gates. At the end, you'll kill a Vex Gate Lord. It's a very active event with tons of movement. You're, hopping between different islands of Mercury, and there's a bunch of things going on. And then at the end, they said that it was the most rewarding public event that they have created. There were two chests that spawned at the end. Open the chest, and the rewards were, in my opinion, a little questionable. But I will come back to that in a minute. Um, the Another thing about the event in general, it is like I said, it's very active. There's a lot of moving parts and everything. They showed the heroic event completed, but they didn't show you how to do it. So that's fine. But again, I'll come back to this stuff later.
Uh huh.
They have they've added heroic adventures, and basically those are where random modifiers get added to adventures, and it makes them more difficult to do. So you might want to bring a fire team with you to do them, or if
Okay.
you're good enough by yourself, you can do them. Um, the Lost Prophecies, there are 11 in total, and these are basically quests to get the new legendary guns from the Curse of Osiris DLC once you beat the main story. All these things are optional. You don't have to do them, but they showed off the forge in last week's stream. This week they showed like, hey, there are these nodes on the forge, and they correspond to each of these weapons or whatever. and they showed off exactly how you quote unquote forge your gun. You know, you have to get pieces from different things by doing different things in the game, and then you go to the forge, you hit a button, and it makes your weapon for you. Again, I will come back to this in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
um, the strikes, they have added a story version of the strikes as well as the normal matchmaking. So what that means is basically they have shrunk down the strikes so that way you can do them solo and really get the story and everything, because some of these stories in the strikes are really good. One of my favorites is Sabathun Song. The story in that strike is really, really good, and it's really dark too. But so they've added that as well as the heroic strikes that I mentioned last week. There are two new strikes being added to the game, which will up the total of strikes, which is good. And then they went on an adventure in the Infinite Forest. And during this adventure, they showed off the fact that the forest is, you know, curated through different things will happen each time you go in. You'll see different enemy types when you go in. You'll see Cabal, Vex, Hive, and maybe even Taken, maybe. But each of these adventures will have a different oh they have a different theme to them, so they'll each feel different from each other. Like there was one that where they were doing called the Up and Up, and it was just a bunch of verticality and everything, so it looked really cool. But with all this said and done, I'm kind of concerned,
Yeah.
and it's not so much the gameplay that I'm concerned about, really. It's the fact that they're showing off these things, because in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure people who play Destiny will agree with me, that, you know, Destiny is best experienced blind
Yeah.
and not knowing about all these different things. Been for you to, you know, beat the main story for Curse of Osiris, and you see this forge and like, oh, what is this? And then, you know, what are these lost prophecies? You pick it up and you're like, oh, I have to do this to get this. Okay, cool, fantastic. Let's go do it. Instead, they show you exactly what you have to do to get one of these things. Now you know, like, oh, hey, I'll be doing similar things, you know, to get this or whatever it may be. The rewards in the public event chest that they showed, I believe it was 2 tokens and a blue, um, which, I mean, in my opinion, it's not really all the more rewarding than what we're getting now, in my opinion. And I'm glad that they're doing things with adventures to make us actually play them.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, there's really no incentive other than, do you want extra story? And these adventures, like, they're really, the ones in the game now are really well done. They're just not rewarding enough. I think that's the big thing. What we want is more rewards. I know this sounds really complainy, and it sounds like, you know, oh, I might be falling out of love with Destiny, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, you know how much I love Destiny, and how much it means to me. So the fact that I'm having this discussion, I think it shows how passionate I am, and there are people in the community having these same discussions with other people, listening to the Planet Destiny podcast over the past week, listening to Breyer and Tefty and the guys talk about these things, talk about their feelings about it, and Watts had a video about the Infinite Forest, you know, and her thoughts on everything. We're all in the same realm of thought here. We don't hate Destiny at all. We just we want what's best for the game, and, you know, right now we're not getting it. And no, I don't expect one DLC, this one especially, to change everything and add the quality of life changes that we want right now. That's not going to happen, because I'm pretty sure this DLC was, you know, planned beforehand and everything. So any of the quality of life changes that we would want to see, we might not see maybe until the next DLC or even year 2 of Destiny 2. So uh, I'm still excited to play the DLC, obviously, but there are things in there that I would have not once, you know, well, I wouldn't have liked to like to have seen the forging of the weapons, because that gives you the wrong idea.
Hmm.
just things like that. So I'm kind of rambling now, but I'm done.
All right. Yeah, I mean it's Destiny 2. It was on sale this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Wolfenstein 2 is on sale too. So I mean, what do you?
It seemed
I don't
about
know that I don't know if that was a chat, but yeah.
I just don't know what else to say about it, my man. That's that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, yeah,
So
you're
the
good.
only thing I could think that was
Yeah.
relevant was to say it was on sale Black Friday for $29.
Oh man, I should have picked up Overwatch for PS4 this past weekend. Oh well, it's cool.
Should have
Never
picked me
mind.
up a copy of
Anyway,
Overwatch.
holidays are coming, my guy. Holidays are coming. We'll see. But what's your final piece of news, man?
So yeah, so my final piece of news is something that we reported on last week, or I should say
Mhm.
last show. I don't know if it's been a week, but we reported that there was a Valkyria project that they were going to
Yeah.
reveal on November 20th, and it's past the 20th. And it turns out the Valkyria project is actually being called Valkyria Chronicles 4. That's right.
Huh.
I'm giving you time to clap and be like, yeah. So it's been announced that Valkyria Chronicles 4 uh, will be released on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch.
Huh.
It's set to have a release date in 2018 for the West and March 21st in Japan. So this game takes place in the same, I guess, era as the first three games take place. It's supposed to be set more towards the end of the war, and this one has snow, lots and lots of snow.
Huh.
It's supposed to be an unusual blizzard though because it's supposed to be spring and it's snowing and mystical stuff. But it was also recently reported in Famitsu that the game is 90% complete, and that it looks fantastic.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I mean the greatest thing for me is that they announced it for the Nintendo Switch.
That is awesome. They're
And
looking for the Switch. They take it on the go with you.
yeah, man, like, I mean, for me, honestly, I haven't really been going as much, so I haven't really had a need to take my Switch with me. But for me, what I've been doing is like starting a show or watching a season and playing something on the Switch while I watch the show. And so it's been really great.
Dedication right there. I couldn't do that. You gotta focus on the show.
Well, you don't really have to focus on the show, and as long as there's no story going on the Switch, like it's just action.
Right.
Like a big thing with Super Mario Brothers, like or Super Mario Odyssey, I guess I should say, because Luigi's not in that game. um, but no, it was just I could play and jump and move around and listen to the story that was going on the big screen.
Got you.
So, but when it comes down, excuse me, that I have to read
Well,
or they
yawning, my
start
guy.
talking on the Switch, then it's like I cannot concentrate. That's where it becomes a problem.
Got you. I see. Fair enough.
But yeah, that's where I'll pick it up, just to have that ability to play it, on the go. And then if I want the big screen, that's kind of what I do. But no,
Fair enough.
it looks fantastic. It looks just like the other games. There's supposed to be a new class called Grenadier or Grenader. Uh, but
At least Grenadier, I believe.
yeah, well, the six classes that they are supposed to have is Scouts, Shock Troopers, Lancers, Engineers, Snipers, and now the Grenadiers. And as far as I can tell, judging by the screens, the Grenadiers will set up like a kind of like a pole vault, if you will, that will shoot a grenade up, and I'm assuming will go to far places and
Right. Yeah.
bomb the heck out of
Wouldn't
people.
go 2 feet in the air.
hmm but yeah, no, it looks great. The trailer's out. Um, yeah, I'm super excited. Like, this is gonna be my game for next year. This is the game I'm waiting for.
Nice. Nice. We'll save that for a list later down the road of some sort.
Yeah, if we ever do a list, but
We'll do a list.
we love our list.
We do. We
Yeah.
do. Little in joke within the show between us is fantastic.
Yeah. But that's all I got to report about Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Fair enough. One more thing, just to go back to the Destiny thing, then I'm done. I promise. As far as showing us stuff, I'm sorry, I forgot it. I forgot it. You started talking. I was like, oh, I forgot to say that. Sorry. So,
Just let it
so at
go.
the end of the stream,
Alright.
no. At the end of the stream, Deej was like, yeah, next week we're gonna show you some armor. I'm like, no, don't show me the armor. I don't want to see it. Don't show me the armor, Deej. I don't want to see it. So if it wasn't for this and me being the avid Destiny person I am, when we watching these streams, put it that way, I don't want to see the armor. But anyway, I'm done. I'm done. I promise. I'm done. So let's jump into our main topic for the episode, which, being that the holidays and everything are upon us, I'd like to talk about traditions this week. And what I mean when I say traditions, that could mean, well, a lot of things really, but I think of things like, do you have a certain game, or that you play during a certain time of year, be it holiday time, spring break, whatever, or do you have any rituals before you play a certain game, or whatever it may be, so things of that nature.
Do you murder a chicken before you play every Final Fantasy?
Oh no! That's terrible.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. Now we're gonna start this thing, huh? So I know, for me, I have one when it comes to Madden in particular.
Oh yeah.
Usually, but before the next Madden comes out, once it gets close to that window where they're starting to talk about the new Madden and everything, I'll go and I'll fire up a franchise and I'll take I'll take a shitty team like the Browns or something, and I'll move them to another city, just a random city. I might get people to help me pick the city and all that stuff, and then we'll go from there. And then we'll do the draft and we'll play a few games with that, just to see what I can do in that 1 year with the new team and everything. I think that's a fun way to finish out the year. Nothing too serious, just having fun with it. One of the things that I do.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I was actually thinking when you brought up Madden, that reminded me that we don't really do it every year. We try to, but whenever my brother, if he comes down for Thanksgiving or Christmas, or if I go up and visit him, like if we're going out to the big city or whatever, we'll always play a couple matches of Madden to see who the best Madden player is. And usually when he comes down here, I think it's Madden NFL 8 for the DS. We'll grab a couple DSs.
Okay.
And we'll play it that way. And if I go out to his place, he has the PlayStation 3 version. I think the last game he has was Madden 25, or it might have been Madden 13. Yeah, so something like that. Anyways, I'm pretty sure it's Madden 13. But we'll fire that up and play a couple games, and we're usually pretty evenly matched.
And what's the series looking like? Do you keep track of that stuff?
We don't keep track of that. We probably should.
Think you
But
should.
it usually seems like it's that year whoever is playing um, usually wins both games. Like we usually play two games, and who's ever playing uh, wins the first one, wins the second one. So
Huh.
usually it's like a full sweep.
Whoever's hosting, basically.
Yeah, no, well, no. Like the last time we played, I went out to his place and we played on the PS3, and I'm pretty sure I smoked him. Um, and part of it could be, because I'm in a Madden league and I pay more attention to stuff. I'm getting
Right.
a heck of a lot better, and he's not playing. He only plays when we play together.
Right. When you come around.
Uh
Yeah, I
huh.
got you.
So I'm pretty sure I smoked him
That
um,
makes
when we played. But yeah, so that's kind of a tradition whenever we get together because uh, we usually don't get together, but maybe once a year. Oh.
Yep. And Ken owes
And
everyone
time
a
is
drink.
up, everybody.
Good night now.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
but because I know I have a buddy of mine who plays Red Dead Redemption. Around spring break time, we'll go through and he'll play the whole game in its entirety and everything, and that's something really fun that I like to hear him do and everything. It's a good time.
hmm,
I know that there's, as far as like uh pre-game rituals or whatever, so to speak, depending on the game.
yeah.
Um, it could be something like a snack, for instance. Like I know back in my younger days, whenever me and my brother would play Mortal Kombat, uh, Shaolin Monks, we both would sit there and just eat like a bunch of the wheat thins
Hmm.
before we would play, and most of the time during we'd play. And so that's something that I associate with tradition, so to speak, like a pre-game snack, so to
Right.
speak. So it's a lot of fun doing that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. I know it's again not really a tradition, but um, I like to go back and play Final Fantasy VII. I usually will wait. It seems like I get an urge. I should say about every 5 to 10 years.
I would say that's a tradition of some sort because you're still going to play it.
Yeah. Um, because the last time I beat it too, I beat it. I think it was like 4 hours faster than the last time I had beaten it,
Nice.
and I still try to get Knights of the Round, but I can just never get Knights of the Round. Like the only way I got Knights of the Round was I put in a code breaker. That's the only reason why I can even see it. I can't get it legitimately,
Ah.
which is sad. But
Oh.
no, I just the story is really great in Final Fantasy VII in my mind.
Right.
Like there's a lot of nuances. Like if you just take it at face value, um, it's really weird, you know. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like loopy or retarded. But when you kind of think things through and you theorize like what's going on and what happened and stuff like that, it makes the story's just so much grander than it was. And I remember reading Sakaguchi um, when he was developing the story for Final Fantasy VII. Uh, his mother had just passed away, and
Hmm.
so he was dealing with a tremendous amount of loss. Like his mother was very important to him, and so he had a really hard time dealing with that at the time. And so that's where the story kind of comes from, is the loss of his mother. You can kind of see that too with Sephiroth, which if you haven't played it, shame on you. It's been like 20 years, bro. Get with the program. Um,
Yeah, I know.
but I mean, that's kind of the story. Is Sephiroth dealing with never having his mother, or if you'll even just having his mother taken from him, however you want to look at it.
Right.
So I enjoy going through the story and redoing it and um, changing stuff up, maybe playing with different characters and stuff. Um, but yeah, that's I mean that's the only thing I can think of that's as close to a tradition that I do really, because I
Right.
once I play a game, I usually don't come back to it unless it's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
it's been so long. I just want to pop that game in and play a little bit.
Right, yeah, experience it a little bit. I got you,
Hmm.
I got you. And I think that's sort of where I was going with the whole thing, really, because I know I have games like that too. And it's funny you were talking about Final Fantasy, because to no one's surprise, I'm sure, one of mine is Mass Effect. The original trilogy is great. I
Boo.
I started I started the I started it again before Andromeda came out, and you gave me that challenge to beat one before it came out, which I did, and I started to. I never I never got I didn't get too far into it, but I did start it. So I'm probably gonna go back here at some point and finish it up or start playing it again, and then go to three and finish up the trilogy with my female shepherd. And then I think a goal of mine would probably be to go through and play it as all the different classes,
Hmm.
just to experience the game from all the different class point of views and everything, and how those classes evolve over the course of the main trilogy.
Right.
So I think that actually something we'll start doing. Don't know when, but the fact that I do it is enough of a tradition in of itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's a short tradition, but sure.
Yeah, but it's playing through all the games, and how I do with Mass Effect, I'm doing everything I possibly can. So it's gonna take me a little bit to do it.
Hold up. The last time you played it, you told me you didn't do everything you could.
Um,
Yeah. there we,
which was it? Oh, was that talking about
the
what you
original
call it?
the original
Oh,
Mass
you know
Effect.
what?
You said you didn't
You
do
know what?
everything you
Yeah, you're
could.
right. You're right. You're right. I did it. Yeah, I did it because I was trying to beat it before Andromeda came out. I didn't because there
Yep.
were things like there were things I missed. I missed
Hashtag
getting.
cheater.
I think I missed. Yeah, I think I missed getting Rex's armor. I think. I'll have to actually go back and look and see. But I know there were some things that I missed.
Yep.
But you're right about that. You're right. You called me out on that. You're cool. Good job.
Hey, I'm here for
But
you.
you know,
Make sure you stay on the up
yeah.
and up.
But if I have the time, yeah, exactly. But now that I don't have to worry about that anymore, I can take my time and do everything I really want to do and get everything. Oh, you know what? No, yeah, because I usually don't do like the the Asari glyphs and all that stuff.
Uh huh.
I usually don't do all of those because I could if I wanted to, but those are things that I don't do. So yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, you're absolutely right. There's a few things like the keepers in the first one, getting all the keepers scanned and everything. So there's those kinds of things that I don't do all the way anyway. I'll find them, but
Right.
no big deal. I
Yep.
do wonder what happens on what if you do find all of them, and does it have an impact on the next game and so on and so forth? Because I don't know. So that's one thing to find out. For
Right.
sure, I think anyway. So I think that's sort of it. I know that was kind of a short discussion there, and I didn't
We filled
have
up enough time with the news.
yeah, I think we did. I think we did. So let's move on to our community segment, shall we?
Community segment.
Last week we asked you guys what were you thankful for this year in gaming, and we got a response from Braden Harbin. He says Battlefront 2 and EA. Now hear me out. I am thankful for the fact that the game is not only a major improvement over its predecessor, but the fact that the huge backlash towards its microtransactions and loot boxes caused enough of a stir to get other companies to take notice. I heard Activision has held off on implementing COD points into World War II because of the fan backlash. I know the microtransactions will return, but that's the perfect segue into my next point. I am thankful that EA is actually listening to their community. It's rare to see a company do that, in my opinion, especially a company as high profile as EA. I can feel that EA, DICE, and Criterion want Battlefront 2 to be a Star Wars game fans want, and they are taking the steps to make it a game worth praise. With fans voicing their concerns and EA taking the steps to make it a better game, I am thankful. I'm loving Battlefront 2, and I want it to be better so more people can jump in and enjoy it like I do.
Well, with the way that Disney is dropping their ban hammer on their video game divisions and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a move to try and get people to buy the game so that Disney doesn't say, well, your Star Wars games didn't sell. No more for you.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
Yeah, because it's
Still
just...
I'm a Star Wars RPG, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. Because Disney killed LucasArts. They, like, totally gutted it. They've dropped the ban hammer on this Marvel game. They canceled a lot of games that were in work, like Disney Infinity. Disney Infinity was still selling really well when they decided, nope, we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. I think I was still working at Walmart when I was like, what was going on. I think I was when they actually canned that.
I don't think so. But anyways.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Yeah.
So I really wouldn't be surprised if Disney doesn't go and if they don't do well enough, like drop the support and make it so they can't make any more services. Like, I wonder if it's in their contract when they agree to use Star Wars that it has to sell X amount or they'll lose their contract. That's almost what it seems like to me, because let's be honest, EA is a horrible company, and the fact that they're listening to their fans tells me that they have a horrible reason besides listening to their fans, because they don't listen to their fans. They don't give a crap what their fans say. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they don't care about their fans. So this isn't a fan move. Maybe a PR stint, but they got to have ulterior motives.
Yeah, I mean, they very well could. I'm gonna play devil's advocate as I always do and say that I don't know anything. So, and
that's not devil's advocate.
No, no, I'm gonna say that, you know, of course, you know, the end goal is to make money, obviously. So, you know, you'll do what you can to make money. If it's rolling back the microtransactions and all that stuff, so people will buy your game. By all means, go ahead and do it. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. We'll save that for another time, because I'm pretty sure there'll be more news on, especially with the way things are now. And there's a lot of other stuff going on as far as the internet and things like that. That's not for the podcast, but yeah. So, thank you, Brayden, for answering the question this week. Really, really appreciate it, and the support and everything. Really appreciate that, my guy. Hope you return for our new question of the week, which this week is going to be, what are your gaming traditions? If you have any, let us know in the comments, and we'll read your answers next week on the podcast. So, I think that's it, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, we're done. And we're out of here! Thank you so much for listening to episode 23 of the R&R Gaming Podcast. Once again, we are a part of the Joystick Entertainment Network. I got a little too excited there. So, before we get out of here, Ken, tell us where to... Tell them, not me. Tell them where to find us.
So you can find us, me personally, on Twitter at Macrobov. That's MACROBOV. You can find the podcast on Twitter at R&R Gaming Pod. That's RANDR Gaming POD. You can find. Okay. Apparently we can't speak. Because I was actually going to say we can find Joyce there on Twitter at Joystick Entertainment, or JOYSTIKENT. And you can find Byron on Twitter at
Braun1417, that's capital B RON1417. You can find me streaming on Twitch whenever I feel like it these days at twitch.tv B_Ron1417. That's B_Ron1417. You also find the podcast on YouTube if you're listening to the video, listening and or watching to the video version of the podcast on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it. You'll get notifications every time an episode goes live. You can also find us on Castbox, the Castbox app. It's on Androids and iPhones, I believe.
Mhm. Yeah, it's on Android and iPhones, and you can even listen on your
Is that right?
computer at castbox.fm.
Okay, yeah. So do all those things and get your ear holes filled with the wonderful goodness that is the R&R Gaming Podcast. Ken, tell them why to come back next week. This outro is different, but we're doing it. So Ken, tell them why to come back.
Well, you should start a new tradition and come back next week because everyone could use a little more R&R.
Good show.
You just like me messing up when I say words.
I mess up when I say words too, so it's all right.